My wife wanted an open marriage for freedom, then broke down when I started dating the woman she envied most. At 36, I thought I had a solid grasp on life. I worked as a project consultant in Toronto, married to a woman I believed was my lifelong partner. We met during grad school, both pursuing degrees in international business. Our connection was instant, and after a few years of dating, we got married and started building a life together. She transitioned into a corporate strategy role at a prestigious firm and worked under a woman named Evelyn, the company's founder. Evelyn was known in the industry for her sharp intellect, wealth, and commanding presence. Our marriage had been stable for the most part. We had shared goals, consistent communication, and what I considered a fulfilling intimacy. But something shifted about a year ago. She grew distant, buried herself in her phone, often came home late, and gradually detached from our usual routines. When I questioned her, suspecting infidelity, she stunned me with a proposition instead. She wanted to open our marriage. I was blindsided. We had never entertained such ideas before. Her reasoning centered around seeking excitement and wanting to explore different aspects of her identity. Despite my reluctance, we went through counseling and extensive conversations, during which she insisted the new arrangement would only enhance our bond. Eventually, I gave in, under the condition that we set ground rules. No dating close friends, full transparency, and either of us could veto a relationship if it made us uncomfortable. She dove into the new lifestyle with surprising enthusiasm. Dating apps appeared on her phone overnight, and she began going out regularly, coming back with vague stories and alcohol on her breath. I stayed quiet at first, trying to respect the terms we had agreed upon, but emotionally I was unraveling. After a month of sitting at home alone, wrestling with my thoughts, I decided to dip my toes into the open world she had embraced. That's when Evelyn, her boss, reached out via LinkedIn, claiming to want to discuss a potential business collaboration. I accepted out of curiosity, though her field had little to do with mine. Over coffee, the truth surfaced. There was no business opportunity. Evelyn confessed she had always found me attractive, but kept her distance out of respect for my marriage. She admitted my wife had mentioned our open relationship in casual conversation, prompting her to take a chance. Her approach was direct but respectful. She was sophisticated, confident, and surprisingly warm. That initial meeting turned into a string of long conversations and eventually, dates. It wasn't long before our connection deepened. With Evelyn, I felt genuinely seen. We had meaningful discussions, shared a love for food, travel, and long walks. She encouraged my growth in ways I hadn't realized I needed. The contrast between her attentiveness and my wife's emotional withdrawal was glaring. Everything came to a head when Evelyn dropped me off at my place one evening, and my wife saw us kiss. She erupted, not with sorrow, but with fury. The idea that I was dating her boss sent her into a tailspin. She accused me of betrayal and humiliation. I reminded her of the rules we had mutually agreed on and how she had been dating for weeks. Her anger, however, wasn't rooted in love. It was in pride. Evelyn, in her eyes, had always been a rival, a symbol of success and influence that she resented. She believed Evelyn was dating me to spite her, not because of any genuine feelings, but I had come to see the authenticity in Evelyn's interest, something I hadn't felt in my marriage for a long time. When my wife invoked the veto rule, I refused. It had been designed to protect against emotional harm, not as a tool to exert control when things didn't go her way. She couldn't accept that. Our home turned cold, filled with tension, arguments, and silence. Things escalated when she attempted to sabotage my relationship with Evelyn. She spread lies at her workplace, accused Evelyn of unethical behavior, and even went as far as to contact Evelyn's brother with fabricated claims about me. Fortunately, Evelyn saw through it. When my wife tried to accuse Evelyn of workplace misconduct, Evelyn handled it with poise, addressing it openly with her staff, and stepping back from decisions that might affect my wife's role. It didn't end there. One evening, while Evelyn and I were dining out, my wife showed up uninvited. She caused a scene, shouting insults and throwing a glass of wine. It was humiliating. Evelyn remained composed, but I knew then I had to leave my marital home. I packed a bag and moved into my brother's place. That night, my wife finally broke down. She admitted she had made a mistake, suggesting an open marriage. She begged to close it and return to our previous life. When I asked her the real reason she pushed for this, she eventually confessed. She had already been involved with a co-worker and wanted to ease her guilt by framing it as exploration. Her experiment had backfired. The man used her and discarded her. In the end, she had gambled our marriage for a fling. The coldness I felt in that moment was like nothing I had known. I realized she never expected me to find someone else, especially someone like Evelyn. In her mind, I was the dependable one, the person who would stay put while she played the field. Her miscalculation became the undoing of our relationship. I told her I wanted a divorce. The weeks that followed were tumultuous. She harassed me with calls, reached out to my parents with twisted narratives, and even attempted to turn our mutual friends against me. Some believed her. Others knew the truth. The worst was when she contacted Evelyn's elderly parents, painting me as a manipulative opportunist. Evelyn stood by me through all of it. With her guidance, I stayed firm but fair during the divorce proceedings. I offered a reasonable settlement and even agreed to slightly more than required, but only for a limited time. Evelyn's strategy worked. My wife accepted the offer, likely fearing the drawn-out legal costs she could no longer afford after resigning from her job. The divorce was finalized 6 months after I moved out. During that time, Evelyn and I grew closer. She supported my decision to launch my own consulting firm, introduced me to a network of professionals who became clients and friends, and showed me what a healthy relationship could feel like. One built on respect, communication, and encouragement. Shortly after, I bumped into my ex-wife's sister at a store. She hesitated, then told me she knew everything. Her sister had admitted it during a drunken night. She never believed I'd find someone better, especially not someone like Evelyn. Her plan was always to explore, and then close the marriage on her terms once she was done. Evelyn dating me had, in her eyes, ruined that script. I felt a mix of emotions. Some sadness for the years wasted, some relief that it was finally over, but mostly gratitude. Sometimes life leads you through chaos to help you discover what you truly need. I never imagined my wife's reckless decision would lead me to someone who actually respected and inspired me. Today, Evelyn and I are engaged. We're planning a quiet ceremony with close family and friends. My consulting business is doing well, and Evelyn's firm continues to thrive. We've created a life where both of us feel seen, supported, and genuinely happy. I look back not with bitterness, but with clarity. The open marriage didn't ruin my life. It revealed what was already broken and pushed me toward something far better. If there's any lesson in this story, it's this: be careful what you ask for. The freedom you chase might not bring you joy, but it just might lead someone else to find theirs. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more.